Hey everybody, it's Sabrina. Welcome back to my channel. I am going to be doing a longer December daily video so that way I can do lots of days in one video. So it should break down into 3 videos. We shall see. I'm hoping to have them up for the rest of the Sundays in January. So this will be 16, 18, 19, and 20. 17 was quite interesting. I had an idea to do family currentlies, but it just didn't work out. So, which is a funny story in and of itself, and I'll share more when I share what I actually did for day 17. This is 16, and this was the last full week before we went into Christmas, so I sent my dear friend Erica a heart photo. She sent me one last year, and so I figured I'll send her one this year, and then she sent me one back. And she looks so beautiful and has a beautiful blue sweater on. And if you've been following along, you know that I've been trying to incorporate more blue into my project. So I figured this is the perfect way to get more blue in. So I did a mix of green and blue. And I also carried the same theme from last year, hearts, obviously. But last year I also did a row or a column of hearts, something similar. So I just figured, you know what, I'm going to keep the same thing, because if we keep doing this every year, it'll be fun to just have the same design. So I took that really pretty blue paper with the gold stars on it, punched out a few 2-inch circles to place behind my transparency hearts, and then I'm just going to kind of play around with what I have, because I have a lot of pieces out. You can see I have that big green die cut. I thought about putting that in the center, but I felt like it was really too big. I also had a house, and then I had Fa La La, one of those sparkly gold pieces. Lots of different things, but in the end, I went with just the blue circles and then the heart transparencies and layering them together across the page horizontally. And then our photos will be vertical. I also used some of those perforated blue phrases. I loved those. I was surprised to see blue perforated strips in the kit. I don't think I've seen blue in the kits recently. I think it's over the years been like word phrase stickers, but usually either way, it's either been perforated or word phrase stickers, but it's always like a Christmas color, like red or green or craft. So blue was something different. Okay, I'm finally ready to adhere down all the pieces. I wanted to have a piece of paper with a subtle pattern down at the bottom to anchor everything. So I chose December Memories, and I love that paper. It's green and it has that big font that Ali did. Pretty sure it's her font, and I thought it would work perfect. Okay, so I'm going to glue down my photos and then start to build the cluster across the page. I'm also going to add in some stamping later on. I felt like that would add some visual interest and also some movement to the page. Okay, starting with this first circle. It was a lot of finagling. I love that word. A lot of finagling to figure out the placement of everything, but that's why I did most of the finagling before I laid everything down. So I put down the 2-inch circle and then layered on top a light green sticker that says Holiday Love. Not sticker, transparency, you know what I mean. And then I'll do a circle and then continue in that same pattern across the page. I also have a transparency 16 or acetate, one of those two, and I will put that in the middle. I love having a variety of numbers. I'm sure I've already said that a few times, but it's been something I've noticed a lot with this year in particular, just being very glad that I have built up a stash of numbers and I can pick from a variety of numbers. Double-sided tape obviously works best in putting together the page with the transparencies. I don't even want to try any other type of adhesive. I think I have tried other adhesives, but no, it's not going to work. And I also just wanted to share that I am nearly done with my December daily, which is just amazing. Obviously, that means I've had a lot of extra free time during this particular winter break, because last year I don't think I got my December daily done until early February, which was a bummer. No, not even early February. It was late February last year. So it's just a project I love doing it, but there comes a point where I'm like, okay, I'm ready to move on and put stuff away and get ready for, the next year and starting on new projects. And this is not the type of project where I want to just set it aside like week in the life, because I know that I'll forget about it because I'm not that great at finishing projects. And that's actually what I'll talk about tomorrow in my behind the scenes video, is that my intention for this year is to finish more than I start. So back to this project, I am layering in some stars on the top and the bottom with green and blue and just some pattern making stamps. I have blue cluster of stars, I have a green circle, and then I decide to bring in some gold. But you guys, I don't know what it is with me and the gold ink. I got it a few years ago and it just does not feel like actual metallic gold. I don't know. It doesn't look like it to me. But I stamped a few hearts, and then I will add some journaling and the perforated strips to finish up the page. I thought about not adding journaling, I think, or else adding journaling to the top and the bottom, but just down at the bottom worked fine. So I picked Have a Holly Jolly Christmas and documenting this. And then, of course, I'll add the journaling and just talk about how, Erica and I are always juggling so much. We always say we're juggling all the balls. It references a book, I think I read, like a nonfiction book, juggling plastic and glass balls. It's like the glass ones are important, the plastic ones you can put down. And so we always talk about juggling so much. And I just wanted to wish her well in this week as we got started on last minute preparations for Christmas. So that is my page. I'm going to now glue it to the back of 15 with the ornaments. And the back of 15 is the HP premium paper, 32 pounds, and so is this 16. So I glue them back to back, and it makes a really sturdy foundation. It's not flimsy or anything. But that's generally how I like to use the HP premium paper, is make sure that each of the projects are its own separate paper. So that is 16. Now I'm going to move on to 18, which was a very, very simple page. My husband and I lucked out. Very simple page, but it's actually really, really special, because my husband and I lucked out with 40 minutes in the evening on a random Wednesday with time to ourselves, because our kids were both at their activities. So we sat down and started a movie. It was amazing. So I got out some big green felt numbers, 18, and I believe that this was a filler page, or not a filler page, a prep page that I made a few years ago, and I used a pre-punched 4x4 pocket, and it, the holes kind of bug me on the craft pocket, but it's already stuck down. I'm just going to leave it. So I have that pocket. It's going to fit a 4x4 journaling card. And then I put down my felt numbers really huge. And on the back, I can put the photo of my husband and I on the couch, because that I tortured him to get a photo, because I had to document this really awesome occasion, because I could not believe that it was happening. I'm like, wait a second, both kids are gone and it's just you and me. We can watch a TV show. This is awesome. So I got out that 4x4 card. I don't remember where I grabbed it. I think it was actually part of the pocket. So I just pulled that out and drew some lines, because I can never, write straight lines. I can't. So I just documented that story, and of course use that Tombow pen that I've been talking about constantly. I'm pretty much just going to use that pen throughout the entire album, because I feel like it adds consistency and it's something new that I'm doing this year. So I just talked about, again, that how, we didn't have to wait till 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock to watch something together, and we didn't have to do chores, and we didn't have to do anything. All we could do is just sit down and watch a TV show together, a movie together. So that was really nice and so fun to have that happen in the middle of December. It just, I don't know, it was so fun. I'd love to know if you guys had moments like that in December that were totally unexpected, but really, really awesome. 18 is now done. I can put it into the album and move on to 19. 19 was a little bit of a struggle, but I was determined to make it work. It is this half circle page, or not circle page. It's a circle die cut page. There you go. And then I asked Morgan Beal, who had already used it, what size those circles were, because I didn't have the digital file. I don't even know if there is a digital file for this, but I didn't have it. So I asked her, and she said they're 2.75. So I cut out some of the images, 2.75, and then the others I tried to draw half a circle in Photoshop, which I've never done before, and I don't know if I did a great job. I kind of messed up my workout photo because I kept trimming it, and it looks kind of wonky. But we're going to just leave it and pretend that it's not wonky. If anybody knows how to draw a half circle in Photoshop, let me know. I'm learning so many things in Photoshop, and so that is definitely added to my list of things that I want to learn. Overall, 19 is kind of just an everyday snapshot layout with lots of different little stories on it that I wanted to capture. In the past, I've done like a 2x2 pocket front and back, which makes it even easier. But for this one, I just really wanted to try the die cut, and with the way that I had planned out day 20, which is coming next, I knew that I would need something front and back. So I figured, let's just go for a challenge. The challenge would be conquering this die cut paper with no digital file. Because for me, it's a lot easier if I have the digital file to measure things and figure out exactly what things are. But it's okay. I'm doing my best. There is a lot of photo rearranging and taking off, so I hope that doesn't bother you, but I was just trying to figure out the best kind of flow for the page and what stories I wanted to include. I did wind up with one extra photo, my daughter at Girl Scouts, but I can always do that story like in her album if I ever make kid albums. That would be a definite goal for 2025, is to do more kid stuff, but we shall see. So I decided to move that school photo. It's a photo of the kids at the school that I work at playing reindeer games, and I moved that down to the bottom, and up at the top I put our elves, and I was able to easily cut that photo in half to match that spot, and they can just sit up there. Those crazy elves, they actually wanted to go to high school and help my son complete his finals. I don't know what they were thinking. Thankfully, I rescued them and they did not go to high school, so that's good. I also included 19 that's red. I actually adhered it down with double-sided tape, and then before I stuck it down, I used a tiny attacher. So that way I gave the illusion of being stapled, but I didn't actually staple it since I didn't want the staple to show through on the back. I'm using this piece of lined paper from day 12 to make a journaling spot for the back, so that way I can do a bullet point list of the stories that are on the back. I also have that green circle that I fussy cut, and now I need kind of I don't even know. It's like a quarter size circle for over on the right hand side, but having those two patterns next to each other is really going to bother me. So again, I'm going to move pieces around and see where things are going to fit best. I don't know why I was just having so much trouble trying to figure out where everything went, but eventually I got it and I was ready to adhere everything down. So that green Christmas paper will go up at the top left. My daughter in a photo will go on the right hand side, and then I have my husband and son being hilarious, and then a photo of some presents for my friend, and then my coworker and I down at the bottom. And then I kind of stepped away from the project because I wanted to add something else to this, but I wasn't sure what. And I finally decided on stamps, and I went through my stamps, and I'm going to pick out a bunch of those. So I go back to the front where everything is adhered, trim off what I don't need, and this is where I kind of step away, and then I come back and I have a bunch of stamp phrases already on there, and I love how that turned out. I think that was the perfect touch to add some more, I don't know, oomph to the project. But I have around here, I stamped that so that way I could do like a bullet point list down the side. And then I think the curved stamp I chose was Bring On the Twinkle. I also have December looks like this, and then Find Joy for my workout photo. And I also stamped school since that was a school photo, but I stamped it a little low so it cut off a little bit, but that's okay. And I was able to stamp Find Joy several times. So really love how it turned out. And then the photo of my husband and I found a microscopic word that says loving. So I stamped that right on the photo. And then of course I just jotted down little notes about each of the photos. So like I said, for this one, it was reindeer games. They put on cups on their hands to pretend that they were reindeers, and they had to pick up as many marshmallows as they could in 30 seconds. So it was wild and crazy, and probably one of the reasons I lost my voice like that day. And then up at December looks like this. I talked about my son having his first soccer game and my daughter making a project for Girl Scouts, and she did an amazing job volunteering and teaching other Girl Scouts about making a book ornament. And then the around here, I said I'm continuing to make time to work out. I even moved up to 10-pound weights. And this season involves all the feels of mix of this and that. And I'm just learning to embrace that. Thankful for a wonderful partner who makes me hot cocoa. My husband made me hot cocoa when I wasn't feeling so great and my throat was hurting. So that's very nice. I feel like that's a little story that just had to be included in there. On the back, I stamped this moment and then talked about that hilarious photo of my dudes. They tried out a local taco truck for the first time after soccer practice, and that's the cheesy smiles I got. I also said that our cat loves to hang out in the back of the tree, and I enjoyed having lunch with my coworker. So that is 19. I am going to put it into the album. I just have to make sure I punch the holes, and I think it turned out fabulous. It was a lot more work than I thought, but like I said, it was partly my fault because I just kept moving the photos around. In the end, I think it's a fantastic everyday December page, and I just love it. So yay me. December 19 is all done, and it is awesome. Okay, here we go. The 20th. I'm so excited to share this page with you. It was a lot of work to put together, but in the end, I think it turned out fantastic. So this 10x8 light paper, it immediately made me think of a snow globe and how you could do a see-through window. I found a tool in my son's arsenal of drawing stuff when he used to draw, and I had my husband cut out the inner portion of where the lights were, and I immediately knew that I could put in the photo that my son, so sweetly, because he's a teenager, recreated with his uncle. So we went to the zoo lights, and we hadn't gone in I think at least 10 years. And so I took the photo of them now and put it inside of that circle that my husband had cut out, and then adhered it to the back of the vellum. Then what I'm going to do is take one of those, they're made by Simple Stories. They're called like Snap 3x4 adhesive pockets. I'm going to take one of those and put the photo from 10 years ago right on top and line it up so that way it looks perfect, and it's fantastic. I love how it turned out. I've done something similar with my kids and I at the Santa train many, many years ago. I think it was actually our last year and our first year, and I did the same kind of technique, and I loved it. It was so special. So this is the pocket, and then I have the photo of my son and my best friend, and they're doing the same pose, and I put it right over the top, line it up, like I said, kind of tuck it under there, and it just looks magical. I love it. It's so priceless. And like I said, even more priceless because my teenager, who didn't really want to go to the zoo lights, I wasn't sure if he'd want to recreate this, but he did, and it was so special. In the original photo, my son was a lot smaller, obviously, and Uncle had squatted down, and when I went to take a picture, he squeezed Uncle's nose, and it was just hilarious, and now he's doing it 10 years later, so I just love it. And then on the back, I have the vellum, and I really didn't like just leaving the vellum, so I'm going to fix that in a little bit. Well, actually, maybe right now. But I have some more pocket pages for all the photos I took at the zoo lights because I don't know if we're going to go next year. I don't know. It might just be me and my friend because the kids, I don't know. They're too old for it, basically. They're too cool for it. Cool teenagers. But I have this pocket page, a 3x4 pocket page to start off day 20. And I had originally thought I might use these hearts, but I'm going to actually use more of the ornaments, and I also want to use some of the acetate words that I think came in the main kit. I have Twinkle, and I'm going to pull that one out to use. I'll also grab a piece of vellum to put the 20 on and use a multicolored ornament to place with the 20. So I think that's going to look fantastic. And at this point, I didn't know what I was going to put over the vellum. I thought maybe I would just leave the vellum the way it is, but I didn't like it. So in a little bit, I am going to go to my computer and print out a piece of red December daily paper that has a bunch of words on it. And I'm just going to use, I think it's like cover stock type paper, and that way it's not too thick. And the colors aren't the brightest, but it still worked for what I needed. And I'll wind up creating a journaling card. So you'll see that in a little bit. So I have that pocket page, and then I'm going to flip it over and do a set of pocket pages, one for the back of the 3x4 and then a 2x2 pocket page with all the other photos, because I knew that for 21, which you'll see in the next video, I was going to do a pocket page all about the presents and opening presents with Uncle on the morning of the 21st. So having a 2x2 pocket worked perfectly. So on the back of that vellum 3x4, I cut out another ornament, red this time, because there's a lot of red in the photos. And I also wanted to add another one of those acetate words. I thought about adding it to the Santa climbing the ladder. It's like this really tiny looking Santa that's climbing a ladder. It's adorable. And there was a few around the zoo, so it was fun to kind of I spy and figure out where they are. But I added the festive to the lights hanging down, and then there was just a smidge hanging over the photo, so I went ahead and trimmed that down. And then now I'm going to place all of my photos, and whatever spots I need to fill in, I'll fill in with paper or maybe an ornament and a little bit of journaling. My next step is going to be figuring out what papers I want to put into my pockets. I know that I probably want to use a red since I have a red ornament on the left-hand side. I also am thinking about figuring out if there is a multicolored pattern paper that I could use, since on the first pocket page I used that striped ornament, so I might go back and see what I can add. But for right now, I have the green Christmas paper and then this really pretty red paper with vines on it, I think. I don't know. Either way, it's very pretty. So I put that one up at the top, and then I have the green ornament. And then this is where I took a break, went to my computer, printed that paper, and now I'm going to start back on this side so that way I can do some journaling. I love how this paper turned out. I'm so glad I thought of this idea. And, I know it adds just a smidge more bulk, but that's okay. My album is going to be stuffed. I will actually wind up probably only using one album this year, and that's okay with me. So I have that, have this paper down, and now I want to add some sort of journaling to it. I really liked this 4x6 light card that is just like the circle light paper, but I don't need the whole thing. I I don't want the whole thing. So I think I'm going to trim it off where the lights end. And I also want to add another ornament. I thought about a vellum gold one, but I didn't like how that kind of took away from the pocket. So I decided to go with the red one that says family and friends. So that way it fills in the light space there, but it also kind of blends into the red paper and it all works seamlessly. Now I will add in some journaling lines to talk about the zoo lights. And this is where I will talk about how my friend had the amazing suggestion. Actually, I think at the end of 2023, because we were talking about how we like to do different things every December and kind of rotate the activities. And he mentioned the zoo lights. And I was like, really, the zoo lights? Okay, we haven't done that in forever. So I got some tickets for the zoo lights, and then he had the idea to recreate some photos, and I thought that would be fantastic. I'm all on board for recreating photos. I love doing that. So we were very excited to go see the zoo lights, and I think the adults, I know I mentioned this earlier, I think us adults really enjoyed the lights a little bit more than the kids, or should I say teens, teen and a preteen. That's what I have. So we just loved it, and I found it very magical. They even updated the path into the zoo, and it was all fancy with lots of lights. It was wonderful. I loved it. I went to erase my journaling lines, and the sand eraser was kind of smudging, so I decided to not erase and just fill in my lines with my Sharpie pen, because I don't want to smudge the paper, and I just didn't want to deal with erasing. So now I have this page done. It looks fantastic. I'm going to go back to finishing the double page spread with the 3x4s and also the 2x2 pocket page. So I have lots of different photos of all the different displays and even an hibernating bear. You can see I took out the green 2x2 paper and I put in the ho 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 paper, which has a bunch of different colors in it for just, you know, a pop of lots of colors, because there is lots of colors in the lights overall. And on the journaling card, I wanted to sound very festive, maybe even like I was narrating a story. So I tried to make it sound funny. So I said there was giant roosters, a donkey that scared my friend, a hibernating bear, an owl, a serval watching up high, and twinkling trees. So lots of fun little adjectives to describe the different things that were going on. And seeing the hibernating bear was definitely a very cool thing. They had even a sign and a display to explain that you need to be quiet and that the bear is hibernating. So that is day 20. And just as I thought I was done, this is where I remembered that when you flip this pocket up, there is a spot for journaling to really go more in depth with the story. And so I pulled it out of the album. Well, I don't know if I pulled it out of the album, but I wanted to make sure that I jotted down a story. So I grabbed some leftover scraps from that 'Tis the Season paper, and I am just going to jot down the story about recreating this photo and how special it was. Just a quick little note about, you know, what we were doing and the story. So I got that scrap and I laid it down perfectly so that way it said this season. I mean, you can tell it says this season. So I was like, oh, good job to me. And then I added in some lines for the journaling. And then I just, talked about recreating this photo and how thankful I was that, again, my son was willing to go along with this, and it's just going to be a priceless photo. And I said, I'm so happy my teenager went along with his silly mom and silly uncle to recreate this photo. And I had to add a few more lines down at the bottom so that way I could add in just priceless, because it really was. And now I am finished with 20 and I can put it back into the album. And I hope you guys have enjoyed seeing 16 16, yes, 16, 18, 19, and 20. And like I said, I should be able to wrap up December daily by the end of January if that sounds fun. But I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch my videos. I'd love a thumbs up or a subscribe if you are new to my channel, and I hope that you guys are having a great start to your new year. Thanks so much. Bye.